I think I want to let Lauren start actually because I'm genuinely curious about Bugonia. I've seen things here and there that suggest that it's very good. I know that it's a Yorgos Lanthimos film, so very good is definitely, we're talking artwork here, right? So it's not just your typical film fare, and it's his muse Emma Stone and then some other people. So I will let you tell us about it because I won't see it in the theater, but I am excited to see it. I think when it comes out, we'll see what I think when you're done talking.
You're on mute.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. When it comes to Yorgos Lanthimos, I feel like his films, particularly within the past like 2, 3 years, have been getting like weirder and weirder. And the one that I was really taken by and really appreciated the most, which I reviewed, maybe it was definitely over a year ago, Poor Things, which I thought was
Hmm.
so beautiful and just the story's fascinating. It's based on a book and just visuals of it were great. This film was very different. Yorgos likes to use a lot of the same actors, as you said, like his muse is Emma Stone in many cases. She's been in at least 3 films of his now. Jesse Plemons is in this as well, and I know he
Hmm.
was in Kinds of Kindness. And the other actors, he did use Alicia Silverstone, who was also in Secret Killing of a Sacred Deer, the one that you recommended to me, Kevin.
Oh yeah, I love Killing of a Secretariat.
Yeah. And she was in this as well, playing a mom, which was interesting. Other than that, I was not familiar with the other actors, but it's about this guy and his cousin who are definitely odd. And you would think like meeting them, like something's up. They're not mentally well. And Jesse Plemons plays Teddy. He's got his cousin Don, who definitely is on the spectrum to some sense. Whereas I think Teddy, who's played by Jesse Plemons, he's just a nut. He's not on the spectrum. And the two of them are convinced that there are aliens out there and they kidnap Emma Stone's character, who is a CEO of this biotech company. And her name is Michelle Fuller. And you probably have seen the previews and have seen this. And it's bizarre because she's in the office. I think it takes place, I'm not sure. It looks like California. And she's literally taken from her car. These guys inject her with something, and then she's in the basement, pretty much cuffed to the bed, and she's really scared and not sure what's going on. And these guys are like, you, well, specifically the leader, which is Teddy, played by Jesse Plemons, says, "You're an alien. We know you're an alien." And the stuff that he's pointing out is very bizarre. It's like she's got a nose and the way her feet are constructed, it's like normal stuff, nothing distinct where you're like, that's alien like. So they're just out of their mind. And she's pretty unsure of like what's going on. And of course, she's held captive against her will, and she's telling him like, "Let me go. I'm a pretty like high profile figure. You're going to be in serious trouble if you don't let me go." And yeah, these guys are adamant in like proving that she is actually an alien, and they do like shock therapy for her, and they're doing all these other things to like prove that she's an alien. And it's wild. It's wild. It's not, I didn't enjoy it as much as Poor Things. I thought it was super bizarre. He uses the same type of instrumentals. So if you're familiar with Yorgos Lanthimos films, he's using a lot of string instruments during like dramatic scenes. And I don't want to give the dramatic scenes away here, but that's just kind of like his style. And I think he does a good job of incorporating it. Visually, it's not a beautiful movie like Poor Things. They're pretty much mostly at this house where she's held captive for a majority of the movie. They do have a lot of involvement with bees, and Bugonia is based on like a Greek mythology about bees, which I don't want to give away because, again, this is part of the movie, and I also don't want to give away how things unfold because it's major twists, especially at the end, where you're just you can't believe what's going on, and it's bizarre. But overall, it definitely kept my interest from start to finish. Wasn't my favorite film of his, but it was one of those films where I had to do a lot of research after, more so because of the Greek mythology behind it and learning about like the backstory and understanding where they were going with this, and also just this idea about aliens and outer life and kind of where they were trying to take this, because I think it was for someone like myself who's not very, I think, educated on like the outside world, outside of like, my normal day. I'm not very, I think, cognizant of just anything related to aliens, so this was all like very different. Whereas I think you guys probably would have taken to it more, given that you've seen things like Alien Earth, and granted, that's more probably fictional, but well, this is fictional too. But nonetheless, it's bizarre. It's super bizarre, and they take like way too much of an interest in her than you think you that she would be. She's just a regular person CEO, and they are convinced that she's an alien, and they have this like disdain for her, and you find out why he has this disdain. Alicia Silverstone plays the mother of Teddy, Jesse Plemons' character, and you come to find out that she has some major issues. She was in a drug trial through the company that Emma Stone is the CEO of, and that went completely wrong. And he has developed like this major disdain for her, and it all like ties back at the end.
So I read this is a remake, actually.
I
It
read
was
that as
a
well.
yeah, Korean film, Save the
Yep.
Green Planet.
Yep.
Very cool.
I think you guys would like it. Did you both see Poor Things or no? I can't
I've
remember.
seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I started it and I had other things to do and I didn't go back to it. But I definitely did start it, and I know she's great, and I'm very familiar with Yorgos Lanthimos, and I feel like he is somebody like Ari Aster. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I just realized I didn't even
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
my mic over. Hold on.
Yeah.
What an idiot. There we go. But I feel like
Pretty loud now.
probably. But I feel like he is like Ari Aster, where he's going to keep pushing his art until at some point it
It's
might
not cool
be,
anymore.
yeah, like it's so artsy that you kind of lose it. Because like I can't even remember the name. What's the one we hated?
Beau is afraid.
I
Man,
was
I'm
afraid.
traumatized by that movie.
Yeah, like the
So
movie was
terrible.
so bad. But then you have Hereditary and you have Midsummer
Midsummer.
that are like in their
Nice.
own way masterpieces, right? Like they're so good. And then you have they just keep letting the reins out, and then you end up with Beau is Afraid. But I mean, it sounds like you didn't hate this one, and
Yeah,
the
I didn't
reviews are
hate it.
good.
I wouldn't see it again. I'll leave it at that. I wouldn't see it again. Poor Things, I think, was just so beautifully casted, and just, I mean, you're taken throughout Europe, and just, I think even just the story, it reminded me of Edward Scissorhands. And I mean, it's loosely based on Frankenstein, right? So I think it's a story
Mhm.
that more people can sort of follow, whereas this is just so out there to some degree. I was more so, I think, paying attention more so because I'm like, where are they going with this? These are two crazy guys. One of them's autistic, so just following his cousin. And he has clearly some sort of vendetta against Emma Stone's character, but he's also like claiming she's an alien. What is the deal? It's very weird, but it was more so just how is this going to turn out than anything else.
Do you think she's gonna be up for any like Oscar noms from
For
this?
this, no.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. But then again, who knows, right? Sometimes people are nominated because,
Of who they are.
yeah, I think so. But who she played in Poor Things, I think that was way more impressive given that she's playing someone that is an adult with the mind of a child. And I thought that was so much harder and just really shows her range. It's just a much better portrayal versus this is she's a CEO who's held hostage.
Okay.
I don't know. But for all we know, right? Like she is Emma Stone. I don't think, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets nominated, but I don't think it's a role where I feel like she's really pushing the envelope or she's really showing her capabilities like she's done for other roles like The Help.
Right. But either way, it sounds like this is not a film that's necessarily going to hurt her career either. It's not like people are going to look at this and look down on her and be like, "Oh, she's falling apart."
No, not at all. She's still going strong and
Yeah.
she was in Kinds of Kindness, which I started, I didn't finish. But I know a lot of actors, if they have a really good relationship with the director, they'll keep milking it. And if
Oh
that
yeah.
director keeps on putting stuff out, why not?
Yeah, she'll be in his next film. I would bet money on it. So,
100%. But yeah, this wasn't like, I don't think it was anything that I would go like recommend into the world about. Quite frankly, the reviews weren't bad. They're both 80s for
yeah.
the audience and for the critics. So yeah, I thought it was fine, but again, wouldn't care to see it again. It's just bizarre, but not like in a way where I'm like so bizarre. Oh my God, I have to see this again and unravel it.
All right. Yeah, I am definitely curious about it, but this makes me glad that I can wait till it streams and I'll be all right.
Yeah, and I'm curious to hear both of your takes on it since you're more into the alien life, outer extraterrestrial world, whereas I couldn't care less about that.
Yeah, I'm definitely I find that stuff entertaining for sure, and I think that'll lead nicely into where I'll take Andrew and I next. But you got anything else on that one?
Yeah.
All right, then we will take your aliens and we will knock them down a peg to just a signal from outer space. We watched the new show, both of us watched the new show on Apple TV called Plur1bus, which is from creator Vince Gilligan, who gave us Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, The X-Files. Um, you know, a hell of a history. This show, if you look on IMDb, has a 9.1 rating. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's 100% from the critics and 90 something from the audience.
It's 80 something now on the audience. I
Yeah,
looked, so I'm like,
86% from the audience. Um, but yeah, I think we're on similar pages, but I
uh-oh,
will let you go first.
hated it. I hated it, man. And like I'm so disappointed in this show. And I wonder when others like me will emerge. Um I loved Breaking Bad. I loved Better Call Saul. I actually think Better Call Saul, like it's hard for me to even compare the two. They're different, but they're in the same universe. And in some respects, I think Better Call Saul is superior in some respects. But this, I don't get it. Um, all right, here we go. I think where I'm kind of lost is A, there isn't a single really likable character, in my opinion, in the entire show. I think Rhea Seahorn's character, I think it's Carol, she is utterly insufferable. I can't stand her. And when I'm reading online, people saying, "Oh, this show is so amazing. I've never seen anything like this before. It's so profound." I'm sorry, and this is where I'm gonna like lose you and choose violence. But I'm like, these are the motherfuckers who probably think Ted Lasso is like utter philosophy, dude. I'm sorry. Like it's not that serious. Like this show, I mean, to me, the way I liken it is it's kind of almost like for me, this is how I took COVID. Like COVID happened and everybody was losing their fucking minds, and I was happy as a pig in shit. And if this show happened to me, I'd be okay with it, you know? So I feel like, which is pretty a strong statement to make, but there's four other humans like in the show who are for the most part okay with it, slash wanting to be part of like what's happening. And I think I'd probably be the prince or whatever, like the guy with the airplane. Yeah, no, let's be real, I'd be him. So like I don't know. I don't know. I just, but even though I can speak on that level, I still felt like I was wasting my time. After the first episode, I was like, I'm done. I'm not coming back. But then there's another episode. I'm like, you know what? I might as well at least watch it. But it was painful. It was so painful. So this is his Beau is Afraid. I'm sorry. Like I never watched X-Files, but that's just because it wasn't really like my thing in high school. I'm sure I'd like it now. But, you know, we'll call Breaking Bad Hereditary and we'll no, yeah, Breaking Bad Hereditary. We'll call it Better Call Saul uh
Midsummer.
Midsummer. And then you have fucking Beau is Afraid is Pluribus. And they both make me nauseous. It's terrible. And I want to be proven wrong. I mean, maybe the third episode is going to just like change things for me, but right now I don't see it. I don't see it, and I just think people are tripping, and or they're just not very sophisticated. And I think both are very possible. And rant.
Yeah, I think I probably don't dislike it as much as you. But here's the tagline, which speaks exactly to what you said about the show. The tagline on Rotten Tomatoes, the most miserable person on earth must save the world from happiness. And yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't feel like she's even the most miserable person on earth.
No,
Like she had a wife, girlfriend, whatever. She had a life, she had a career, which she wasn't totally stoked about, but she was successful. She bitched about some stuff or whatever, but like I think to your point, I think the show would have benefited from dragging out the the key moment um at least another episode. Like we didn't even build her character up. We saw her for like 20 minutes in her life and then the thing happens and then now we're into the world. And so for somebody that's always been so great at world building and in drawing you into their characters, we didn't get to know this character as, who she is at all.
you
And
just hit it. I'm sorry. I had to jump in really
go ahead.
quick. The guy was masterful at his characters, and I could Myers-Briggs every single one, and each character lived up to their And in this show, there's really only one character we're dealing with, really. Like how do you go from the richness of, you know, Carlos Salamanca and all these people, and then you go to just basically, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call her a Karen. Like she's just basically a Karen who is insufferable and kind of basic and just kind of like just selfish and ta has tantrums and kills millions of people while she has her tantrums, so keeps doing it. Like I'm disgusted. I'm so disappointed. And I'm sorry, I interrupted you, but I just had to like really emphasize the fact that Vince Gilligan is a master at characters and he failed miserably here, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I really, there's no attachment to this character. I think the world is supposed to be more interesting. So we didn't even talk about it. So because
No.
we just went right into the big, this is what we think of this show. Um, the gist of the show is, and see, this is the thing that I also thought was going to make it really interesting. The very first thing you see is a timer. It's a countdown. So in my mind, we're counting down to this big, huge thing. And they get a radio signal from outer space. They decode it, find out that it's a message about some sort of RNA,
RNA.
like genome thing, whatever. And so they're getting the signal from space. They're like, oh my gosh, we've got to figure out what this is because, of course, a signal sent from outer space, you'd be like, yeah, I definitely need to try this and experiment on things with it. So they create this thing and they start injecting it into animals. Fail, fail, fail. It gets injected into a rat who bites a human. That person gets super weird. And then we have a moment where we see her with somebody else, but then that scene's over. Then she walks up to some dude and kisses him, and he starts shaking and acting weird. And what we come to find out as the episode goes on is whatever they're doing is creating a shared consciousness. So literally by and
Swapping spit.
yeah, by the end of the first episode or late into the first episode, we find out that literally other than 11 people, the entire planet is now one shared consciousness. So, like, basically, I would know everything Andrew knows and everything Lauren knows, and they would know everything that I know, right? And that's the gist of it, like how this works. So everybody is now linked, which, in a way, and I've seen other stories that do, I say a better job. Maybe this will do a better job as it goes on, but do a better job of explaining a theory like this. Like it is in its own way a utopia, but also in its own way, a nightmare because there is no person anymore. You're not you. You're just us.
A node. Yeah,
Yeah, and
each of
so
us is a node. Yeah.
yeah, and so all that I don't want to say autonomy, but all that selfness is gone. And so the from that angle, like I can see where somebody wouldn't want to become a part of this, right? And because she didn't become a part of it, and because she watched her partner die, because she's one of the people that couldn't, get downloaded or whatever. But as it turns out, she was just her body died. She's one of the so her brain connected to this huge consciousness before she died, and now she's part of it, even though she's not alive, which is weird. It's like somewhere in there, there's also a brain battery that just holds dead people. I don't know. And so, yeah, I mean, the whole thing with like the dude on the TV was kind of funny. Like,
I loved it. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I would have felt cozy as hell. I'm like, I'm talking to the president or who's now, well, there's no president anymore, but I'm talking to a guy in the White House and he's calling me by my name and I'm just having a conversation in the coziness of my house. That's how COVID felt to me. I'm like, hey,
yeah,
dude, all right, I want to order this, this, and this, bring it to my house, take care of me. Awesome,
yeah,
But she's like freaking out, which again, to me, it reminded me of COVID because I feel like the majority of people were freaking out.
yeah.
And I was kind of like, this is awesome.
Yeah, to be fair, like I did not think about it in relation to COVID at all, and it definitely has that like allegory vibe, right? Like she is the minority and the rest of the world is the majority, and but it's reversed, right? Like, I was cool with COVID. You tell me I can
Yeah.
chill and I don't have to
It was a
interact with people.
pandemic. And that's why so when she walks outside and the whole world is just kind of shut down, that's what gave
Yeah,
me that vibe, But she, you know, uh, again, philosophically speaking, it's all about, I think that most people do want to be individuals and they don't want to be a hive mind. But when they bring up things like there's no crime, there's no blah blah blah, whatever, I'm like, exactly, and I still kind of believe, yes, we're a hive mind, but each node still has its identity. But it's just like it's almost like oh my God. There's a race in Star Trek Deep Sleep Nine. I'm humoring you there that are in that. And basically, it's like that's what they do. They all go into this lake and there's one consciousness. But then, so it's not even so much like you're yourself. You're apart. You're separated. But we are all one. Um, I don't know. I just think if you want to go into just like what is world peace? I mean, even Evangelion goes into this. It's like the whole idea of like we can be all one and we're at peace and everything, but then what do we lose, right?
right.
And for me, it's like we lose a lot of the bullshit, and it's really a philosophical divide. As
Yeah,
long as being one doesn't like hurt everybody, like I don't know. I'm just yeah, keep going.
and this doesn't feel like, and again, we're only two episodes in, but I don't see where this is going to lead to that philosophical
No,
deepness. Like we just
nope. She's
it's
not
really
capable.
yeah, it's really really weird and if see here's the thing because it releases weekly,
Yeah.
I have to remember to go watch the third one anyways, right? Like if it is if this was all released at once, I would almost guarantee that I would watch the entire thing because it
Oh,
would just be there and I would just keep watching. Like if I finished watching tonight, I could be like, cool, it's there, I'll watch it tomorrow. But now, next Friday, I've got to remember that it's there and then go back and find it and watch it and then wait again. And if that episode isn't good, then I'm gonna be like, well, do I really care about the next one? Like I'm already at the point where like I'm curious. Like I want to know from a creative standpoint where this is going. I am not drawn to it from a story standpoint. Um, her acting is fine, but like I don't, it just doesn't feel award worthy or anything. Like, so yeah, I would keep watching it if I remember. But again,
I'm a dick. Sorry. Keep
no,
going.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
I'm a dick, but in the last scene where she's in the airplane and she's kind of ugly crying or being whatever, in my head, I'm like, we already have Jamie Lee Curtis. Sorry, I just feel like, it's like Ray, you were awesome in Better Call Saul, but right now you're not, in my opinion, bringing anything to the table. I feel bad. Like I feel bad that you're leading this stinker of a show. And the thing is, I remember I don't think I'm being hard on the show because Severance, the first episode pulls you in. It's good.
Hmm.
What's it called? Ozark, the first episode pulls you in. There's not a lot of shows where you have to kind of like make it to the third episode to really care. I think it's arguable about Beef. You might have to go further than the first episode. But I went 2 episodes in and I, yeah, I'm sorry. You guys
Yeah.
get the point.
Yeah. Like I said, the only reason that I'm interested in continuing
You're
on
the, yeah.
is like I'm genuinely curious, like what is the goal? Because if this can't be like the way that it's designed, it doesn't feel like it can be a multi-season show. So like I like what is the plan? Like I'm so like I said, technically curious, but story-wise, I just don't give a shit. Character-wise, I don't care. And that's the thing that blows me away that this is rated so highly because I don't care. And then that's a big thing. Like I should most assuredly care about your main character. Maybe I should like passionately hate her, but I should understand her journey and how she got here. But it's like I always said Succession bothered me because I couldn't
That's right.
I couldn't connect to a bunch of rich people and their rich people problems. They're like, "Oh no, daddy didn't give me money this week." I'm like, I gotta work and then pay off all my bills and end up in the negative every month. So, like what do I have in common with you? And and all of those characters are miserable people. Well,
Yes.
this woman did not have a bad life. She had a good
No.
life. She had a good relationship. Um, uh, we think again, we got 20 minutes. Like there should have been an entire episode dedicated to showing us what she's losing because then you care. Even if she sucks, if we understand what she lost, like we should have had time to fall in love with her wife, to see what their life is like. Because then if she loses her wife, you're like, damn, even if you're miserable, I understand why you're resistant because you lost this thing that is huge.
You gave me an idea. And it was like, because obviously, like, I was searching for a reason like the show. So at the end of the episode where and that's the other thing, by the way, I feel like this show is so needlessly expensive. Like, dude, you were like picking like all these locations. Your show's not even that good, but I'm sure it spent like a grip load to make the show. But anyway, so when she stands in front of the plane and stops it, right?
Mhm.
Why do you like? I have my theories, or I have two theories, but why do you think she stopped the plane?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I really don't even have a theory yet. Like,
Okay. So my thing is like, you know, even though she doesn't consider the pirate or whatever, like an individual, she realized she felt kind of jealous or whatever. She didn't want the pirate to go off with the guy and just have fun in Las Vegas. So to me, why would you care? Like, are you seeing that person as an individual, even though they're part of the hive mind? And is that like a shift in her brain? Or is she feeling FOMO? That's like the simple answer. But my thinking is she might be having a shift because even the Hindu mother was like, that's still my son. Yes, he's part of the hive mind, but he's also my
Yeah.
son.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember, yeah, because at one point she's like, "No, I don't want my kids to leave." And she's like, "Look, this is for us that are not part of this thing." And unfortunately they are. Like, so just have them go sit outside of, you know, the room so we can have our conversation. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. And the one thing that is interesting that I'm curious to see where it goes is we still see people kind of breaking down for a minute every now and then, like everyone, right? Like they have moments where they stop functioning basically, and there's no reason why yet. So I feel like that's a major thing that's going to come into play. But I don't, I don't know. I don't know. It's just I don't see the reason for this show to be good. I don't see the reason that I should care about this show at all. And I am baffled by the reviews. Like I
yeah.
really, really am. Like this is I I like Vince Gilligan. I like, Rhea Seahorn. Um, you know, all the pieces are there. They just aren't fitting together. It's like an upside down crossword puzzle right now, or a puzzle right now. It's just like the pieces just don't line up. And I don't know. I don't know. And like I said, on IMDb, it's a 9.1. Like people are really liking this, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
We'll see, man. Yes, we shall
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I'm hoping that if I remember to continue to watch it, um, that some answers come and something like it feels enlightening. Um, but I definitely don't get it from this one, and I don't understand. Like, there's moments of the first one that at least were entertaining, um, but the second one was less entertaining than the first one. Like, it doesn't even feel like it's building forward um, in that regard, and it also is weird because it waffles at moments into almost comedy because she's so like upset by it. Like it, I don't know. I guess that's my review of the show is I don't know. I don't get it, and I not to have a big head or anything, but I feel like I usually get it, and this one I just don't.
I've never done this on this show, but I'm going to turn into Siskel or Ebert, and I'm like, or actually, I'll only do one. It's both of us. Two thumbs up, two thumbs,
Yeah,
thumbs down. Thumb.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
never given a thumbs down.
I'm in the same boat. Like I I really want somebody to watch it and tell me why it's great.
Exactly.
Because I don't get it. It's like I don't even know what else to say. I just don't. So we shall see. But
Are these hour-long episodes?
yes, yes, the
Well, the
second
first
one
one's
is
like
over an
40
hour.
something. Yeah, the second one's like an hour and 4 minutes, and the first one is like 45 minutes. So
Where is this supposed to take place?
New Mexico.
Albuquerque,
Yeah, New
and that's who. And
Mexico.
I will say, whenever I think of Albuquerque, I think of Mexican food, and I love Mexican food,
Hmm.
and also like the feel of Albuquerque feels a little bit like where I live now, like in Vegas, like away from the strip. It's the same kind of. Anyway, it's a desert. So I like that. And I like the fact that Albuquerque is almost like his name was Stephen King. I think, I don't know
Yeah,
where how
yeah.
it took place, but
X-Files was everywhere.
okay. But certainly, so I like the fact that he's giving Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's putting it on the map,
Yeah.
pop
Now,
culture.
is this, you said you referenced Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Does this have some of the same people behind it, or no, just more
It's
similar.
the same creator, man.
Yeah,
Vince
it's the same
Gilligan.
creator. That's the thing that makes it that makes me
That's why people give
expect
a
so
shit.
much more.
What is his name?
Yeah,
Vince.
Vince
Vince
Gilligan.
Gilligan.
Vince
He's
Gilligan.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. His track record is solid, if
Mhm.
not stellar. And to be fair, like that was the reason I was interested in watching the show
Same.
because it was Vince Gilligan goes back to sci-fi, and Vince Gilligan created the X-Files, one of the greatest modern like sci-fi shows, right? Like that's just the history of the X-Files, right? It was the biggest show there was in that genre at that time. And it has a cult following. People go back and watch it. What's his name is talking about rebooting it. Ryan Coogler is looking at rebooting it. Like so Vince Gilligan set up a world. And then we get Breaking Bad, which is intense, amazing, brilliant, but also turns that into a universe by throwing in Better Call Saul, where you take a character that was fun but wasn't like the character, right? Give him a spin-off and you're on your way. And yeah, it's just like this just I mean, this just doesn't feel like him. This is like watching something with Ryan Coogler's name on it that he just produced and didn't show up to set. Like you
Like
see the name.
that movie, him. Like, apparently, it was so bad or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Or yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like you put the name on it to get people to go, but it's garbage. But like he really did work on this one, and it just
He made it for her. Like he literally was like, I wanna.
mm,
I from the moment I saw her, and I knew how she could act without even dialogue, like her expressions. So this is her baby. It's both of their babies,
yeah,
and I'm just so disappointed. I was so looking forward to this show, man. I was, and pluribus obviously means we, right? So to me, it's like
yeah,
that, like e pluribus unum, like out of many, one.
yeah.
So it's like, or yeah,
It's
many.
many. Yeah,
So yeah, many. So that's cool. I get that, but I'm just okay.
yeah, yeah.
Feel
We're the same boat.
random, the title so far.
Pluribus.
What's that?
Pluribus.
Yeah.
Right, but does the title feel a bit random? Are you not like
No,
No, the
no.
title is absolutely on point.
Yeah,
It
okay.
fits.
yeah, yeah. It definitely fits. Um, but yeah, there's something I'm missing. So, like I said, hopefully I remember to watch this come next Friday, and stick with it through the end just to see what this thing is, because I just don't see an end game. I don't see any of it right now.
And how many episodes are there supposed to be?
Well, it
Uh,
was greenlit for 2 seasons.
is it really? I see
Right.
10 episodes on here.
No, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
nine
reading.
episodes.
Yeah.
9 episodes this season. So yeah, the 10th episode is season two. And from the ratings, at least from the reviews,
100%.
it sounds like it'll get a second season. I just I have no idea where it's going to a second season. So
I want to be wrong.
yeah,
I want to be
definitely. Like
wrong.
I want to get to like episode 3, 4, or 5 and just be like, oh my God, this is where it was going. What a genius. You know, I'm not there right now. Like I want to be like, you got me, Vince. You got me, you sneaky son of a bitch. But like, I'm not there yet.
I'm so sorry, but that's how I was the whole slog through Bo's Afraid. I'm like, it's got to be better than this.
Yeah,
It's
like
got.
there's got to be a moment where I'm like,
Yes.
You got me. This is brilliant. No, I was just a steaming turd the whole way through.
All right. Sorry, Vince. We love you.
That's the thing I do.
We
Like,
do.
like I'm not bagging on the guy, but I guess I am bagging on this show. So, all right. Well, that's enough of that. Um, well, I'll take a break because we were jabbing our mouths off. Lauren, you've got a trip to Broadway for us?
Did. On Saturday, I went to see the play Oh Mary. Got
Oh, it
a
disappeared.
number of, no,
There we go.
this came out a little over a year ago, written by Cola Scola, who is from Oregon, moved to New York, came up with this outrageous idea in 2009. What if Mary Todd Lincoln was an alcoholic and an aspiring cabaret dancer? And wrote this play, which blew up. It started in smaller theaters and then worked its way to Broadway. I think initially started in one theater on Broadway, and then it moved to Lyceum Theater where I saw it, and it officially started on Broadway early fall, mid fall 2024. Probably the most progressive play I've ever seen, without a doubt. I saw it with my parents, but luckily their humor is very similar to the type of audience that would see this type of show. Definitely not a show for those that aren't progressive. And I saw Jane Krakowski. This was one of she just started the role of Mary Todd Lincoln
Hmm.
maybe a week or two ago, and she was fantastic. Cole Escola, who wrote the show, originated the role, and then it's been played by a few other people. Betty Gilpin, Jinx Monsoon, who's from Drag Race, and Titus Burgess. So they've had a number of people play Mary, and it's a very physical role too because she's running on stage and she's got this massive dress and she's tumbling and twirling, and it's all takes place for the most of the show in the office of Abraham Lincoln. And they poke fun at the fact that he's gay and he's sleeping with one of the guys who's in, I guess, his cabinet or works in the White House. And there's even like one scene where there's a guy who's under his desk and he's screaming and they're referencing him getting a blowjob. And it's funny because all my friends are like, "You went with your parents to that?" I was like, "Yeah, they're like totally accepting and liberal and fine, but like I feel like the average person wouldn't bring their parents to something like that." But
Sure.
yeah, but it was hilarious. Lots of profanity. You have to be okay with just dropping of the F-bomb and other words, sexual innuendos, everything. But it was definitely well worth it. It's in a very old theater from the, I think, like built before 1910. So it's beautifully decorated and it's just everything is gorgeous. And yeah, you see Mary, who is clearly unhappy in her marriage. She is drinking up a storm and doesn't want to be in the house, and she's locked in to that White House with very little to do, and all she wants to become is this cabaret dancer. And they incorporate John Wilkes Booth, who ends up being her acting coach. And then it's bizarre. It's very bizarre. And then he has relations with, or like has this secret like love affair with Abraham Lincoln. It's like this alternative type of play. Yeah, exactly.
Interpretation. All right.
Interpretation as like Mary's the reason that he's dead, not actually John Wilkes Booth, which is wild, but it's very funny. The way that they have it is like almost done in stints. So they'll have maybe like 5, 10 minutes and then it goes dark. And then they have like another scene and then it goes dark again. So like different parts, but all just very, very funny. And then at the end, she does and lives out her dream of being the cabaret dancer and singing all of these songs and dancing in not the traditional Mary Todd Lincoln big gown, but it's definitely it's a satire. It's a very funny play. It's alternative ending interpretation of Mary Todd Lincoln. Um, it's wild, and this guy came up with this idea in 2009 and wrote it out as a play and had done different, like a lot of people that get started on Broadway, they have, the starving artist type of background for a number of years. And then
Sure.
finally, this was a hit. And at this point, I mean, it's been extended at least 3 or 4 times now. It's funny and it's not like any play I've ever seen before, that's for sure.
So there's a couple things. So I just wanted to say really quickly for the Marvel heads. Kumali, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I am stalling. Here we go. Kumail
Oh,
Yeah, he
Nanjiani.
played Abe.
Kumail Nanjiani, yeah.
Yeah, so he's Abe Lincoln. That's so cool.
Not
All right.
this time, but he was one
Oh,
for
got it.
past productions when I think it was might have been when Jinx was playing. But yeah, they've had different people play Abe Lincoln. Like the guy that was playing Abe Lincoln when I went was black. Black guy, and then you had Titus Burgess who played Mary Todd Lincoln. He's black. So they have
Okay.
like a revolving cast, people playing these figures that are different races, different genders, etc.
So that's one thing. The other thing is I'm just looking at it's won a ton of awards.
Yep.
So good for Cola Scola. I mean, yeah, it's got like the Outer Critics Award for I'm
Yep.
not gonna read them all, but there's a lot. And then to even Tony Awards, like Best Actor in a Play, Best Direction of a Play, 2004, I mean 2000, 2024.
Right.
Then GLAAD Media Awards, three. I mean, it's like I love it. I love that like starving artists. I think that it's sometimes it's the hard times. It's when you're really hungry, Vince. No, when you're hungry, that's when you turn when you do your best work. And
Yeah.
then once you actually like made it, you're like the man or whatever or the woman. Then you're like, yeah, everything I can poop a hit, you know? And like, no, your poop is still poop. You know, think like put some effort into your work. And but when you're starving and you're just like trying to get discovered, you create magic.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what
So,
Rent was with Jonathan Larson. He was cranking out like not such great stuff, and then they're like,
and
draw from what
Hamilton.
you know.
Harry Potter.
Harry
Yeah.
Like
Potter.
she was living out of her car when she wrote that.
Even like Prince.
Now she's rich and she sucks. But yeah,
Yeah, it's a thing.
yeah.
Anyhow,
God,
awesome.
I wish I could suck. I wish I could get so rich that I could just be a piece of shit. But I'm not. I'm just poor. So I'm
Which means
amazing.
you're going to create some magic, dude. It's coming.
There you go.
It's coming.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
definitely recommend. It's not like something I've ever seen before. Very funny, uh, and even just at the end with the music bits and such. They've had some pretty big names in the show, which is great. And I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually bring it to the West End and if they
Mhm.
extend it even longer because every seat was filled. And I'll honestly say, like in the past year, I feel like there have been multiple shows where there have been a good amount of open seats. Not this show. Every seat was filled.
Nice.
It's
Is
not
it
going anywhere.
something that you feel like could get a film adaptation?
No.
No? What about like Hamilton,
Stage play,
where they
like
literally recorded the stage play and put it somewhere?
that's different, right? Like a Disney Plus
Yeah,
they did with
yeah.
Hamilton. Yeah.
And
That oh go ahead.
it sounds good. And not to keep bringing up COVID, but that was a COVID memory. But man, I remember like during COVID, we totally, and it was the first like
Right.
multi-house viewing. Like we all, like we were all like watching it at the same time. We could actually
Sure.
see each other watching it. It was like, it was so cool. I'm like,
It
this
Yeah.
is
was cool
cool.
because it at least right before COVID, I think cheapest seats were like $300.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Hamilton. So it's like it's you're giving something that is so grand to everybody and making it accessible, which was very cool. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I didn't pay anything close to that for this show. As you know, I see a lot of shows and I find the deals, but it's definitely yeah, I think it's something beyond different. It's not something, it's not a production that I see will be doing very well in red states. Let's just put it that way. Like when they go on tour, I don't think, and if someone watches it, they're gonna think, oh, this is about Mary Todd Lincoln historical. And then you see blowjobs under a desk and her like just being ridiculous.
We'll keep it New York, Chicago, LA, San Francisco. I would
San
say
Yeah.
those are the four
Francisco,
Yeah.
cities. Keep it there.
maybe Miami. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to be successful in other cities.
Yeah.
No way. Absolutely not. It's one of those things where like I knew my parents would enjoy it because they're just progressive and they yeah, I knew that they would
Do
like
you
it. And
feel lucky to have like progressive parents? That's a weird question, but I had to ask.
100%. I told my
So.
friends that I took my parents, and they were like, I'd die. Especially like when I told them about like the Abraham Lincoln, like, and what was going on during, I mean, they didn't like obviously show anything, but it was like interpreted in
It's
history.
still mad
Yeah, yeah.
uncomfortable. Yeah, I couldn't see that
I
one.
mean,
Yeah.
it was weird. I think I was more uncomfortable when the C word was dropped around my parents, honestly, before like more of that than anything else.
Okay.
Um, but they were cracking up. I kept on looking over to make sure because this was their birthday gift this year, and I wanted to make
Aw.
sure they're still enjoying it. And yeah, they thought it was hysterical, and a lot of it. And have you guys listened to Cole Escola or like seen him interviewed before?
Never heard of him until today.
Them, yes, hysterical. I'll send you. Yeah, it's okay. I'll send you. I'll send you an interview of them, and it's just a very specific type of humor, and I think they have a very bright future ahead. So, yeah, but overall, do recommend it. I don't, again, this is definitely not a show for everyone. I honestly think most people wouldn't get it, to be honest with you. But it's
Would you see it again?
yes, but with a different actor, and that's the thing about it. And everyone says when you have some new people playing the roles, it's that's where it
Changes a little bit.
changes, which I think is very cool about
Yeah.
it. You know?
Yeah.
Colascola. So I don't know if you guys knew who Colascola was, but when they won Best Actor in a play, they were dressed up as Bernadette Peters from like, if you guys looked at the image, um, wore or had the dressmaker, tailor, designer make the exact same dress, had their chest hair like coming out and everything, a wig beyond belief, and then just accepts the speech as Bernadette Peters.
That's awesome.
So Cole, so Cole's goal is blowing up. And the reason why I say that is because I saw in my almighty feed
Sure.
that Emma Stone and Jennifer Lawrence are working on a
Miss
Miss
Piggy.
Piggy
Piggy.
film. Well,
Yep.
do you know who's writing that film?
Ol Escola. I saw it. Yep.
So yeah, he's fine.
And
Yeah,
that duo, by the way, is fire. And they're
yeah.
friends in real life too, which is cool.
Yeah, they I just saw something like last week that they're like they've never actually acted in a film together.
Correct.
And like they're both kind of bummed about it. So it'd be fun. That blows me away because I'm like they would be amazing together. Because they could both do drama, but they can also both do comedy. Like they're funny.
Yeah, they're
So
very.
like they could do whatever they wanted and it would sell
Mhm.
it would sell all the tickets. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see them work together. Besides producing Miss Piggy, but
Right. And that's coming out next year, Andrew. I did see that on my feed as well.
Yeah, let me look really quick. Oh God. Keep going. I'll find it, but it's not really
No,
giving
it's
me.
okay.
Uh,
But yeah,
y-
it was
there's no date associated with it. I think it's
okay.
yeah,
So
still
it's like
I
a
think I think it's still just
informal
in
announcement.
yeah.
concept. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's cool if Cole's taking things from stage to the big screen.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And to be fair, I think we've talked about this in regards to some films in Marvel versus what DC is doing. If they don't have a script yet, I don't think they should put out a production date. You don't want to
Right.
rush until you have the script. So, like James Gunn talked about this is that he will not start filming anything for the DCU until he has a script that he is happy with. That script can
Good.
go through some revisions as the film goes on,
Sure.
as they always do, but
Hmm.
there has to be a clear-cut direction before something goes to
Production.
yeah, until when you're starting to film. There's no point in not having that. And we definitely, we've seen the effects of that, the opposite of that theory, where you're just like, cool, we're gonna get going, and have it bite you in the ass. Like Blade, they never should have announced Blade without having the script in hand because they've gone through like 8 different script screenwriters and just a nightmare. So,
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
so
thank you.
all right. Well, cool, cool, cool. Then we will move on. I think, close out the show with yet again another absolutely brilliant creator in Guillermo del Toro. who is one of the arguably best visual creators like out there. When you think of something like Pan's Labyrinth, or other what's a Crimson Peak, he has an aura, he's got an aesthetic that he really delivers.
Shape of Water as well. I was just looking it up.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I was looking up, The Shape of Water.
yeah.
Speaking of
And
stuff that's cringy to watch with your parents, but anyway, keep going.
it
I think I might have actually seen that with them. I can't remember, but they've seen it before and they're like, this is weird.
is weird.
It's super
Um,
weird.
but Guillermo del Toro is brilliant. And so this movie I have seen talked about for a while. I think they actually did release it in theaters for a week before they dropped it on Netflix today.
Oh.
It stars Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth, Christoph Waltz, and Jacob Elordi. Those are your big four. And it's the telling of Frankenstein. And I've never read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which is kind of a hole in my horror reading. Like I should definitely give it a read. So I don't know how accurate this is to the story. But one thing that, without knowing that, but watching this film, it feels authentically of the era. So this film opens, there's a boat trapped in the ice. They hear an explosion. They come across Victor Frankenstein, and he is kind of laying on the ground. They bring him back to the boat, and then the monster shows up, and the monster wants to kill Victor Frankenstein because he mad. And so that's like your little preview, and we really see that he is effectively unkillable. Like they shoot the living hell out of him. They do all this stuff. They can't hurt him. Like, oh, they can hurt him, but they can't kill him. And then we flash back, and the first about half of the movie is told from Victor Frankenstein's point of view. And it's about how he grew up, how he decided to create the monster, and how that went to shit. And he ultimately decided he should destroy the monster, which doesn't work. And then we cut back to the boat. Frankenstein's monster breaks into the boat where they're holding Victor Frankenstein. And the captain says, well, Victor told us the whole story and you're a monster. And the monster is like, cool, well, let me tell you my story. And his story effectively starts after the fire where Victor tried to kill him. And like, at no point is this film not beautiful. Like, this, not the story, not the imagery, nothing. Like, the whole point of the story is we are learning about like what it means to be alive, what life means, right? And so as we start to hear the monster story, he can't die, but there's nobody like him because he's also horribly disfigured, and he's different. Like people see him and they instantly want to try and kill him because he's frightening. And so there's no world that works for him, but he also can't die. So he wants to go to Victor Frankenstein and ask him to make him a companion. And I don't think I don't remember, but I don't think he's necessarily asking for a woman companion necessarily. Just somebody that he can spend his time with, right? And he doesn't have that person. And so going back to Victor's part of the story, as he is, trying to study how to create eternal life, which is because his mom died when he was young, and his mom was his person, right? And so his mom died in childbirth to his brother, who, he doesn't necessarily, hate, but he doesn't, super love either. Like, they're cool, but his brother got all the love from the dad that he never got. And so they separate for a long time and they come back together. But when they come back together, his brother is engaged to a character named Elizabeth, played by Mia Goth. And I've said it before. I love Mia Goth. She plays these weird characters perfectly. And the character is interesting without being overwhelming. Um, she, she's intelligent. And so there's this moment where Victor and her are spending a lot of time together. And to continue doing that, he has his brother do a bunch of work for him. And so he continues to spend time with her. But she is very adamant that, she's made her choice. She's going to marry the brother. When Victor pours himself out and says, I think there's a connection between us, blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. And that messes him up even more. He spirals, we get the monster, all that. Um, I don't want to spoil too much because it's just so well done. But I like if you know the story of Frankenstein at all, even like peripherally, you know what's going on, right? Like he created this thing that the world doesn't want, and you know, and the thing that the world doesn't want doesn't have a world for itself, and so it really is a story of forgiveness. It's a story of what it means to be alive. Uh, you know, Almost the importance of life and death, right? Like there's a reason that the cycle exists, and it's a really, really wonderful story, and it's over 2 hours long. Like it's a long film, but it's really easy to watch. And I think the reason is that it is so pretty, and the acting is so good. You expect quality from Oscar Isaac at this point, right? Like we've seen him in a bunch of stuff,
Hmm.
and he's just really good. Like he plays Victor so well because he's not a happy character, right? Like he's not really fun in any way. When I think Oscar Isaac kind of waffles between these roles back and forth, where sometimes he really is fun. Like he's Poe Dameron in Star Wars, tons of fun. But then you get him in what's the one with the robot, the AI one, where he's
Oh, 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 oh,
the
oh,
great
yes.
one, the great one. Um,
I know. Fuck. Vex Machina.
yeah, Ex Machina, a miserable son of a bitch in that one. Like he is not funny
Yeah.
at all. Like so he
And
has
then
this
he's noble
range.
in Dune. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
he like as Leto. So Leto Atreides. No, Oscar Isaac is the man. It's just unfortunate that he was so bad, but it wasn't him. It was a damn movie in X-Men Apocalypse. My God.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was bad. But yeah, no, I'm genuinely interested in number one, and I was trying to do two things at one time, and I'm terrible at that. But I remember like watching a Frankenstein. Like I remember as a kid. This is before the internet, right? Like as a kid, a all when I thought Frankenstein, I thought guy with a big head. Basically, I think it's Boris Karloff's
Yeah,
depiction
yeah, the
with
bolts on the neck,
wings
yeah.
out of his neck, right? Probably from Scooby-Doo, right? So
Hmm.
I remember there was a live action film, and all of a sudden there's a ship in the ice, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, not I wasn't saying this as a kid, but in my head, like the equivalent of what the hell is this shit? And so I was trying to find what movie because it was like in the 70s or the 80s, and I'm just kind of like, this is like so it feels like your movie that you just saw with Guillermo del Toro is like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which starts off with the ice and the ship, right?
Yeah.
But I want to bring all this up to say I remember being a little confused because I'm like, wait, I know Jacob Elordi's playing Frankenstein, but isn't Christian Bale playing Frankenstein too? And I just bring it up to say shameless plug for the people who are making it, but it's like I have nothing to do with it. But there's a movie called The Bride coming out in
Oh yeah.
2026.
Yeah.
And it's like it's actually it's written, co-produced, and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal of all things.
Yeah.
And you've got like, it looks like it's going to be a bit like, even though it's Warner Brothers, it has a bit of an A24 feel to it. It feels very like off kilter. And I do like Christian Bale, so I feel like it'll be cool. And apparently, it takes place in like the 1930s Chicago, and like they make him a bride, and then she's supposed to be this badass like bride of Frankenstein. They guys go out
Who's
around
playing the
like
bride?
fucking people up. Uh,
Buckley.
Jessie Buckley, but
Oh, I don't know.
I've never heard of her, but like she gives me like Mia Goth energy. Like she seems a bit
I thought
like,
it was Mia Goth at first.
there you
It
go,
might have been.
exactly.
But that also might be confusion just from her being in Frankenstein. Um,
But anyhow,
because
I think it's Frankenstein season right now. It's like so I remember thinking to my I remember being a little confused, like which one is which and like huh? And they both like again, I just remember thinking Christian Bale is an actor that I actually when his name comes up I pay attention.
yeah,
Same thing with oh my God, you just said his name earlier.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac, I pay attention. And then I will say Jacob Elordi, like I respect the guy. I feel like, you play an a-hole, but, also kind of a pimp daddy in Euphoria. But then you still played a pimp daddy, but you were a different kind of guy in Saltburn. So
Hmm.
it's like you have range, dude, and you almost stole Zendaya away just by they actually she was with homeboy Tom, then she was with Jacob for a hot second, and then she went back to Tom. So I'm like, hey, if you get her, like pull her away for a hot second, yeah, you're probably the man. So anyway, Jacob Elordi, I think he's coming up.
Yeah,
Um,
he's good in this too. Like he really is
I believe it.
very good in this.
Yeah.
Um,
Did it start in theaters and then go to Netflix?
I think they released it for a week in the theater. Um, and to be fair, like I actually, this is one that you could see in the theater because it is so visually amazing.
Gorgeous.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just what Guillermo del Toro does. He creates environments that you feel yourself in. Like, have you guys seen Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, I love
No, and
that.
it's a huge hole for
Okay.
me.
You
Yeah.
should, I think you and Saloni could watch that together. It's weird. It
Beautiful.
can be a little scary.
Ah,
But that one is the story. It's basically like an escape story during World War II.
It's a
It's like
Spanish.
that.
It was Spanish. I thought it was a
it-
Spanish American war.
it is, right? Oh,
It's all It's spoken in Spanish. The entire thing is done in Spanish.
It's not Spanish.
But the opening is the
Spain.
kids.
Yeah.
It's almost like um, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Like the kids are being pulled away from the war and they're getting sent somewhere because they're trying to keep the kids safe. And this place that they go to is weird and scary. And the visuals are incredible. It is not an uplifting movie. Like it's not happy. Like it definitely hits you emotionally the entire time, and it is fantastic. It is brilliant. You have to be ready for subtitles, which you are very used to
I love
from
subtitles.
your anime.
AOT. Yep.
Um, I would definitely watch it in the original, even if there's an American version that exists. But Pan's Labyrinth, I think is a must see for you. I think you'll really dig it.
In high
Uh,
school, that was the movie that they had us all watch in Spanish class.
oh shit, yeah,
I watched it in both versions too.
that would be a sad, sad end of class. Um, but yeah, it's brilliant, and so that's what Guillermo del Toro what does. And if you watch Crimson Peak, it's the same way. That's very has that same vibe, very Victorian feel to it. And this one is like I said, you just feel like you're there in the whole thing. So I this one I see too. Like the IMDb, it's like a 7.7, which for me is maybe a little low. The critics give it an 86%, but the audience gives it a 95%. And
Nice.
and I really agree with the audience here. I just think it's so good. It's 2.5 hours long, which is a little long for a movie these days. Like we've kind of been paring down our movies a little bit, but this is long for the right reason. I mean, it's kind of two stories in one, right? You're getting Victor's side and you get the monster side, and then you have the kind of prelude that is the beginning, the middle, and the end to kind of tie everything together. Um, and it really is just a story of tragedy and redemption and the kind of the meaning of life. And the funny thing is, like, you could make a sequel to this movie if you want to, but I think it would tarnish what this film is because I think if you make a sequel, you kind of have to throw away some of the things that made this one special. So I don't know that that would happen, um, and I don't know that it needs to. Um, but yeah, but everybody's really good in this. Like this is a role for me that shows really to me what Jacob Elordi can do because he didn't rely on his looks, right? Like he really had to act in this. He couldn't just play the good looking, snotty dick guy, whatever.
Right.
He really had to do something. I mean, they still managed to make him look pretty fit, you know. Um, but he's a great casting because I think he's 6'7", 6'5", something like that. Like, he's pretty
He's
friggin'
tall.
gigantic, yeah. And so Oscar Isaac must not be particularly tall, which is fine. But it really creates that imposing look for him. Um, and like I
Oscar Isaac is short. He's only like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
remember that.
that's a perfect casting. I mean, that puts them about a foot apart, which is good, and it looks that way. Like he looks much bigger than him. And in the first half of the film, like his treatment of the monster is horrible. Like he kind of sucks. Like like you really watch this and you see because growing up when you're a kid, you always hear about Frankenstein and you think of the monster, right? Like Frankenstein is the monster.
Right.
But that's not the case. Like Victor Frankenstein created the monster, but in a way, Victor Frankenstein is the monster. And
Yes.
and this film does an amazing job of getting that across. So like the second half of the movie is so beautiful and then sad, where the first half of the movie is kind of like the anger and the rage and all that. So it just really does a good job of putting the story across. And like I said, having not read Frankenstein, this feels like it must be a very close to literal translation of Frankenstein. It just feels like that story. And yeah, I think everybody can give it a shot because I don't think, even though it is considered horror, probably, I don't think there's anything in this that is particularly horrific. Like
Right.
other than the idea of like animating the dead or if you're hyper religious, but even he even comes across that in the beginning when he's talking about basically the human body is run on electricity. You don't think about it that way, but like our brain is electric signals, everything happens. The heart, when you restart the heart, you start it with electricity, right? So he's basically using batteries to reanimate, a lifeless body and the this is takes place in the 1850s, I think, is when he's doing it. And so, obviously the people in charge are still very religious, and they're like, "Yeah, no, this is a friggin' abomination." They're like, "Yeah, you are going against God, blah blah blah." Which, in his own way, he is, and he knows he is because hubris is a bad thing. But he wants to be bigger than God, right? Like he wants to be, all powerful kind of in that way. And so, yeah, it's just good, man. That's all I could say. It's really good. And like I said, even though it's labeled as horror, I don't think it's too scary for anybody. So I think it's worth a watch for sure.
I'm
Well,
surprised
thank
they
you.
didn't release it in October during Halloween. And Andrew, I think you posted something not too long ago. This October is one of the worst
Yes.
month or like
It was the worst cinematic,
cinematic
yeah,
October in years or something like that.
in a very long time, like
Yeah.
almost ever. Like it was really, really bad. Um, I was surprised when I initially saw this that it was coming out on November 7th. I do think it would have benefited in some way from being released in October, but at
Yeah.
the same time, like it's not scary enough for like the horror crowd. So maybe that's why.
It fits
Because
in that realm. I mean,
Yeah, you can make
Focus,
the
focus.
argument
Some
either
of
way.
Beetlejuice, that's not super scary,
Yeah.
but that's also like more of the October spooky season type of movies. I think that would have been a much better choice to have that released in.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was really shocked that this wasn't coming out in October. And I don't know what the reason was. Even if you look at the theatrical release date, I think it released in the beginning of November.
Mhm.
Like, I don't even think it came out on Halloween, which is crazy. Like, why at least release it on Halloween night? But,
Yeah.
um, but it's also a movie that I think potentially may get some award buzz. I don't necessarily know if it would be for the acting, but certainly for Guillermo del Toro's work and for the visuals and stuff like that. Um, and just for the overall feel, like I could see a lot of the art department, probably costume, a lot of stuff in that regard.
Makeup.
It could have a shot at. Um, but yeah, it's just I feel like it's a must watch, and I would watch it again. For it being 2.5 hours long, I would happily watch this again, um, and just take it in. It's just really good.
Is he verbal, this version of the monster? Because you'll see different interpretations of Frankenstein's monster where he's literally just making
Like
noises.
groaning and stuff. Yeah, no,
Correct.
he definitely is, and that's the thing too. Like I wish I could say that that's what happened in the book because I haven't read it. But again, you basically have two halves of the story, and this is the other thing that infuriates Victor Frankenstein is that he reanimates this body that he takes parts of and puts them together, reanimates this monster that comes to life. The only thing he's able to teach it to say is his name is Victor. It's the only thing it can say. And so he gets so pissed off. That's why he's like, cool, I did it, but this thing sucks ass, so I'm gonna burn it. Right? Like, and so he goes to burn down the the house with the monster in it, and he's like, just fucking say anything other than my name. Say anything. And it's like Victor. He's like, well, screw you. And he's about to light the fire, and then the monster says Elizabeth, which is the woman that uh
The goth place.
Victor, yeah, that Mia Goth plays. Victor is in love with her. And then
Mhm.
he's like, extra fuck you, because the only other name you can say is the woman I'm in love with, burn. And so he lights the place on fire. Well, the monster escapes. And so that leads us, like I said, to the second half of the story, which is the monster story. And, the monster just wants to be alive. And so he falls in with an old man, an old blind man. So there's no judgment there on his appearance. Um, and the old man educates him, and he's actually incredibly intelligent by the end of the film. So it really is too. Like you look at that, and you've got a man that was trying to do something out of pure like greed and hubris and couldn't elevate this thing, whereas somebody that took it in and just loved the monster and cared about it did like helped him become something far more impressive than Victor Frankenstein could ever do. Um,
This guy's in
and
Harry Potter.
which one?
Blind guy. He plays.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember.
Isn't he also in Game of Thrones? Isn't
I
he
think
Yeah.
so.
Craster?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's definitely like very, very recognizable even for an old man. Like I wouldn't know his name, but very recognizable. Um, and yeah, it's just really, really strong. And I think too, unlike Pluribus that we talked about, you understand everybody's motivation in this from the beginning. There's no question about why things are unfolding the way that they are and why Victor is angry, why Victor would create the monster, why Victor hates the monster, why he'd destroy the monster, why the monster is good, why the monster gets mad. Like all of this stuff unfolds brilliantly. And some of that has to do with the fact, I think, that Frankenstein, the book, is a classic. Which and there's a story behind that, and I don't know if it's true. But it was said once that Bram Stoker, Mary Shelley, and somebody else basically had their own little mini writing competition to write a novel in like a night. or something crazy like that. Some short, insanely short period of time. And we got Bram Stoker's Dracula, Frankenstein, and I thought there was one more. Um, but these were all created almost together, like to like go head to head, and they're classics. And the other thing that I thought about watching this too is I would love to see. I know that we had Bram Stoker's Dracula way back in the day, and that was Francis Ford Coppola, I think. Uh,
92.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it was Coppola, and it starred
Mhm.
Gary Oldman. Great
Yes.
movie, but if Guillermo
And
del
Keanu Reeves and
Toro,
Winona Ryder. Sorry, I
that's
got
right,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with the worst
Uh,
British accent you've ever heard. Keep going.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. Let's be very clear. Keanu's not a fantastic actor. I love
Ooh.
the dude, and when he plays the right parts, absolutely perfect. Not the best actor. But if Guillermo del Toro wanted to remake Bram Stoker's Dracula, it would
Kill
be
it.
epic. It would be epic. Um, so yeah, I think
There was a movie where Elle Fanning plays Mary Shelley, and it's actually called Mary Shelley.
that doesn't sound inaccurate. I love Elle Fanning. I like her sister more, but I like Elle Fanning.
Yeah,
Um,
it came out in 2000, and it's on Tubi. It came out in 2018.
I think Andrew, I think the one you're thinking of was actually Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Robert De Niro and Kenneth Branagh in 1994. That
No, but
that
that's too. No, yeah, yeah. It's you can tell. I'm like looking. I'm gonna find it. No, I remember seeing it as a kid. Like it had to be the 80s or the 70s, and I can't see anything, and it's really annoying. Like I even thought it might have been like Lambert, as in the guy who played Highlander, might have been Frankenstein, but like it was not the same. And I'm gonna find it at some point, but I'm gonna stop looking. Um. Well, if you're well, I want to talk about one more thing. It's not necessarily a thing I watch, but it is topical.
yeah.
So if we
Fire away.
okay.
I'm done. Go watch Frankenstein. That's the end of my rant.
Awesome. All I'll say is, again, I think I'm way more forgiving of special effects than you are because I finally watched not only the trailer to Stranger Things season 5, but I also watched that first 5 minutes clip. I was fine with it, man. I thought it was cool. So there are shows that I would want to be a part of, and there's show like as in if I lived in that show, I'd be okay with, and there's shows I would absolutely not want to live in. Attack on Titan, as we all know, is one I would not want to live in. And I think Stranger Things is one I would not want to live in
Yeah.
because effing Will, dude, his life sucks. Like
Yeah.
it sucks.
He had a pretty shitty run. Um, but it's funny.
Dude.
You brought it up. So I'm going to throw my 2 cents into this damn thing. I watched that first 5 minutes and I was very disappointed. Not because of the content. Like I think that sets up some really cool stuff. It was the appearance of it. You made me wait 3 years for something that is so hyped, and it really does not look that good. It looks very green screen. The effects are just, they do not line up with what I would expect the final season of a show this big with the budget that it had, and the time that they had to make it. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to kill the show for me. Like I'm not any less enthusiastic about watching it. I'm just disappointed. It's like I'm a dad, right? I'm like I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Like this, you should have done better with the time that you had. Now, they poured into the story. I think what is in the trailer, like the things that are happening in the trailer in that first 5 minutes, are cool. Like they make the story more interesting. You have basically we now know that Will and Vecna are tied right together. Like when Will was taken, Vecna was there, right? So like that ties some things back that we didn't know existed at that time, right? And there's a lot to that that make it really interesting. But like the background, the whole like upside down and stuff just felt cheap, and that disappointed me. And I think I said it in our chat group, and actually Jen did say she felt the same way. Is that I think looking at that, I wouldn't pay to see that in the theater. They're going to put the final episode in the theater. I don't think it's going to add anything to see it in the theater that I don't get at home. And we know based on the battle that I got myself into this week with a teenager that Jen's daughter loves Stranger Things, and even she
Yes.
agreed that they don't need to go see it in the theater. So, that's a little telling there just from that aspect. Um, but but yes, and so I think I still think it's going to be great. And I'm almost done with season two. I know you said you started rewatching it.
Correct.
And like, okay, so how far did you get into season two?
Oh God. So literally this is hilarious. Literally what happened was Saloni was like, I've already seen the first episode of season two, so let's start with the second episode. So we start watching, and then the questions just kept coming. And I finally was like, yo, let's just watch the last episode of season one and do this properly. So we did, and I'm glad we did because even for me, like there's so much I forgot. Because I mean the
Yeah.
thing is, I've only watched season one, believe it or not, twice. And that was in 2016 when it came out. And then in 2022, after season four blew my fucking mind. So I watched it again. I was like, okay, it still holds up. Season one is the shit. Started season two, fell off. Now, so we're gonna watch season two for the first time, me since 2017, which is also really impressive. By the way, I want to take a time out to say season one, I want to say was spring 2016, and season two, I remember was Halloween 2017. So they didn't
Yeah.
make us wait that long. I remember I couldn't. I got home from work, and you know where I worked, Lauren, at the time, and I actually got my provisions, I got my snacks, and then just sat in my bed. Boom! I'm watching Stranger Things. I'm just like I'm happy. This is a great Halloween. I think it was Friday too. Anyway, sorry guys, I waxed poetic really quick or whatever. So yeah, we are just now on. I think we're gonna watch episode. So yeah, we're super early, but I remember season two being like serious and dark and like the Mind Flayer and basically it's like the Exorcist PG version, So, but a
Yeah.
lot of cool. But I like Max. Oh, and one thing that I remember, and now that you've seen it, let me know what you think. I got the sense that Max's brother was not down with the Brown. Like I felt like that was his issue, but it seemed to be then more like they just kind of like swept that under the rug. It's almost like we're
Yeah.
not going to deal with that. Am I wrong in thinking that? Because
I don't know if that was their intention, but it definitely gives that vibe. Like
yeah,
he sees Max talking to what's his name,
uh,
Lucas,
Lucas.
and he's like, "Why are you talking to that guy?" Doesn't ever seem to really hone in on anything else other than his sister is his adopted sister or whatever, or sister by marriage, and doesn't really dig her anyways. But it definitely feels like she sees him with a black dude and she is not okay with it.
So
And
and that'd be
yeah,
accurate for the 80s, but I feel like they chickened out and they just kind of like let's
yeah,
forget that. Like so
yeah, they're
I
like,
thought I remember that.
whoa, yeah. But so just for anybody listening or watching, the thing that got me in trouble with Jen's daughter this week is that I said this season two felt slow to start with. Like I had only been through the first few episodes, and you went from this perfectly crafted first season. Like the first season of Stranger Things, while arguably may not even be as good as the fourth season,
Thank you.
is perfectly done. The pacing is brilliant. You started off, you meet these characters. Exactly what Plur1bus did wrong. You meet these characters, you find out everything about them, you understand them, you fall in love with every single one of them, you understand their story, you move on, and you're into the action. And it's weird, and you're discovering stuff. The second season is trying to set up things that are coming forward, and it just starts really slow because it's doing so much world building that it's not interesting to me. Like they're like, well, the kids kind of aren't getting along right now, and this is happening, and Elle's not part of the group. But it also opens with this scene with this other group of people, and then just doesn't come back to them for like days. It was like a waste of time, and it's just weird. It's just weirdly paced, and it does start to pick up after like episode four, like around episode five, it starts to get back into its groove. And like I remember still liking it, obviously, because I was excited for the third season to come out. Even though the third season, I think we all know, wasn't great compared to season four. Um, but just if you watch it in a row, you can feel the pacing difference between season one and season two. And that was really my biggest complaint. Um, and it wasn't even that it was bad. Like it's still well made. The kids are all doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job. Just felt different.
See, the thing is, Jen's daughter, and she might be like avenge herself after this. She's all about Will, number one. Let's put it out there. She's all about Will. Okay,
Hmm.
so you're biased there, and was just really upset at the fact that I was kind of agreeing with Kevin that season two was kind of and then season three. But I said, but season three gets a little better, and she's like, hell no.
She was like, "You're
She's
gonna
like
die."
season two, yeah. She's like die. She's like
Uh-uh.
season two is the ish, and Will is goated. She said Will is like goat of all characters in all media. Like like this is
Yeah,
like this is a teenage rage, right? And then season three was like she was like it's corny and it was leaning to comedy, and I agree it was
yeah,
like a lighter season, but and she allowed because I said what I liked about season three is the whole thing takes place in a damn mall, and what I loved about season three was how authentic it felt to our lives. Those of
yeah,
us who were
yeah,
chicks, they nailed it. So anyway, but I conceded. Look, you've watched this show and you've admitted it, Jen's daughter, that you've watched this show probably 20 times each, right?
yeah.
So like
Way
if
more
you
than I have for
have that
sure.
much, like like I'm not gonna argue with you because you clearly know your
Yeah,
ish. But I am going to watch it now and then come back like Luke in Return of the Jedi and face uh, Sid Vader. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm like cool. Like, and I even said I was like, look, I'll concede that it probably gets better, and I haven't even got to season three. So if you're telling me it's worse, and you've watched it that many times, I'm gonna assume you're right until I feel like you're wrong. And it's like if she were to start watching Lost and come to me and be like, this show sucks, and this is why, I'd be like, you're wrong, and this is why. Like we could have that debate because I've watched Lost eight, nine times, whatever. I've seen Lost many times. And so like I understand that passionate fandom. You understand the passionate fandom. Like you've got Attack on Titan. We've talked about Robotech. We've talked about these things that we've watched multiple times that we would defend. And so like I totally get it. And
I
and
respect it.
sometimes your love for something will skew you
Yes.
know, how good it is. Not saying that she did. I don't want to get in a fight. I don't want to get beat up by a 15-year-old or 16-year-old or whatever she is. Um, but uh, but yeah, I think I still stand by what I said. Season two starts off not as good as season one. Where it finishes, I'm not there yet. And I joked, but it's true. I'm not young and my brain is like fucking Swiss cheese. So I do not remember a lot of things that happen or when they happen in the course of all four seasons so far. So like it's not new to me, but it's a little new to me, like where things are as I watch it.
Oh
So
yeah, dude. I remember thinking Max showed up in season three. I was
yeah,
wrong. She
yeah,
goes back to season two. Lauren, have you watched Stranger Things ever?
I have not, and I heard nothing but great things about the series.
it
Oh,
is really
Is it
good.
the highest grossing like that and Squid Games like on Netflix, like the highest growing
Uh,
grossing
our
well, I'm
highest,
sure after
most
the season it
watched.
will be. Yeah, most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think,
food,
and
etc.
that was a point I made too about putting it in the theater, is that if you put it in the theater and it doesn't do well, people are always going to say, well, this is why you should never put a TV show in the theater. So it's going to have this like negative impact on a show that is going to absolutely ruin ratings. Like when that season finale or series finale airs, there is no question in my mind, highest, most watched show in history. It's going to be the most streamed thing ever. I just do not doubt that. Like I would bet money on it. And I think um, I just worry that trying to put it in the theater, trying to do something with it that it was never designed to do, will
Backfire.
not make it any worse. It may not even backfire. It's just going to be something people are always going to reference when they talk about it.
And
And
is this based on a book or is this just someone wrote this?
nope, it
Duffer
is.
Brothers, baby.
It's the Duffer Brothers, and it is kind of loosely based on their impressions of life as children in the 80s, and they were Stephen
Isn't that
King
the
fans.
best?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Like, isn't it?
absolutely.
Because like they're not even from the fucking 80s, dude. They're just like they're younger than us, but they just got it. They just got it. And even the font is reminds me of the Choose Your Own Adventure books. Like there's something
The font is
about
straight up Stephen King.
okay,
Their
is that
their
what it is?
logo
Okay.
is
Yeah,
straight up, yeah,
got
old
it.
school 80s Stephen King.
So
Um,
yeah, I love it. It's so good. I'm
yeah,
sure Black Throne, I think, took notes from that show.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, when you watch this show, now granted, Lauren, you weren't even alive in the 80s, were you?
No, are you 1990 or some shit?
91.
Okay, yeah.
Jesus Christ. So I'm
Sorry.
so old, but like
He's like, we are so old.
absolutely the feel of this movie or this show
Eighty.
always has been
Love it.
perfect 80s feel.
Yeah.
Like the clothes, the hairstyles, the cars, the just everything about it
Mhm.
is spot on.
The
Like,
music, even.
yeah,
They get the music right. Like, I always make fun of Captain Marvel because the movie takes place in 94, but they play No Doubt's Just a Girl from 96. And I'm like, you guys suck. Whereas Stranger Things, they actually play the music at the right year. Like, I pay attention to that shit.
yeah.
That's how I know you're a pro versus an amateur.
And even their instrumentals feel like they're out of the 80s. Like that
Yes.
is the thing that
The
is cool.
sense.
Like the theme song, like just for
Uh,
the credits, 100% 80s. It's like the most 80s freaking thing you could do. Like it is
chills.
beautifully 80s. Like it really is.
Give it a
Um,
shot. You won't regret it.
I feel like if you go watch E.T., which was made in the 80s, and then you
Yeah.
go watch Stranger Things, they look like they were made at the same time. And that I think is telling. Like you really this feels like it took place then.
Yeah.
Um,
Now I've heard
and
nothing but good things about it. And so these two, they're twins, right? They just,
I don't know if they're twins. I
I
know
don't know
they're
if they're twins.
brothers.
Yeah. I've never even seen them before.
I've seen them a few times in some interviews and stuff.
these two
Um,
brothers just wrote this
yep.
out of nowhere. They're just
And
like, I want to write something from the 80s about these kids that come
but
together and
that's the thing too. Like that's what
they
makes it
look
so
alike,
80s.
though, dude.
Yeah, but that is so 80s too.
They
So
are
many
twins.
are they
They're
really?
twins, dude. Yes.
Nice.
They're born February 15th, 84, dude. And that's the best part. They were born in a banner year. Okay, first of all, 1984 was the year that Transformers,
Yep.
Voltron, I'm forgetting there's a third. Either way, Transformers and Voltron for sure came out in 84. Ghostbusters came out in 84. Gremlins came out in 84. Star Trek 3 came out in 84. I remember 84. 84 was the shit. And like even there's that novel 1984 from the 40s. Like 84 was a banner year, right? And they're
Yeah.
born in 84. Dude, that's credibility right there.
Yeah, and the other thing too is 80s films, particularly kids films, or not necessarily kids films, but more family friendly films, were always about a group of kids on an adventure. So you had the Goonies, you
Goonies.
had what was the one where the kids end up going to outer space in in the little ship they build?
The Victory
Uh,
Tour, Jackson's 84.
yeah.
I know you're talking about Space Camp, was it? That was
No,
called
but
or
Space Camp also was in the
The
80s.
Explorers, maybe?
Explorers, yeah.
Yeah,
Stand
Um,
by Me.
that
sure.
was 86.
But it was the 80s, and that was
Yeah.
a group of
Oh, the group.
teenagers.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, yes.
So, and so when they created this, they took that 80s aesthetic, they took what they knew of the 80s, and they made, like I said, something that felt like it belongs in the 80s,
Yeah.
and it does. Like
Some
it's
Nightmare
perfect.
on Elm Street, like DNA, like the even you'll forget this, but Robert Englund, like from Nightmare on Elm Street, eventually shows up in the damn show,
Yes,
and I was just
yes,
like, that is so cool. They just get it.
yeah.
I
I'm
love people who
actually
get it.
surprised that at some point they didn't get a Stephen King cameo in there.
Maybe they will. Maybe this time they will. They should.
I think he's
Stephen
too
King.
old. I think he's
Oh,
too old. He is I've seen some pictures of him lately and he's feeling the years because he's 80-ish, I think.
80 something. Yeah. Wait,
Um
why would he be in Stranger Things?
oh, it is heavily inspired by Stephen King. Like they're Stephen King fans.
Like
The
Carrie, the telekinesis thing is 11. Like, I mean, it's like, so
Yep.
for
And
example.
the town is very much, Derry or Castle Rock or something like that. Like, it
Oh,
had to have this whole thing, Hawkins, Indiana, like this whole thing is set
very
in a
rural.
specific location. And with Stephen King, he had two primary locations, and that was Derry and Castle Rock. And those two were critical to his stories overall.
Cool.
But there's just a lot of influences in general. Um,
He's from Maine, though, right?
Stephen King, oh
Stephen
yeah,
King?
and
What's his connection to Colorado?
oh he stopped in Colorado. At the it was not the hotel's not called the it's called the Stanley Hotel. He stayed at the Stanley Hotel overnight. They told him it was haunted. He had a moment that night that he stayed that stuck with him, and he went home and immediately wrote The Shining. Yeah, and so that is really his only connection to Colorado. Really was that he stopped over at the Stanley Hotel, which still exists. You can go to the Stanley Hotel. There are stories about it being haunted. You can stay there. 100% exists. Um, and that's what led to The Shining. But 99.9% of his books take place in Maine, and a good portion of those take place in Derry and Castle Rock. Both,
Has he reviewed this, Stephen King? Like, has he
yes,
been vocal
he
about the
has.
series?
Yeah, there was a good stretch of time where he was not regularly, but often writing for um not Hollywood, maybe it was Hollywood Reporter, but he was doing regular reviews of things, and Stranger Things, I believe, was one of them that he threw a lot of praise on.
Yeah.
I feel like a dick for bringing this up, but he also called like The Flash like one of the best superhero films of all time or something.
That is true, but there was something about that that fell off, and I don't remember what it was. But yeah, that definitely
We all
like
have
I
our
don't know.
misses. We
You,
all have our
it's
misses.
true, and if it strikes the right chord with you, then you love it, and that's fair. But I don't know what friggin' chord that would have struck, but
You got to stick in your lane.
yeah,
I
but
remember when I think the first Quiet Place came out, he gave a lot of praise to John Krasinski and told him like this is brilliant.
yeah, yeah, he is not an unopinionated man. If you follow him on Twitter, he is happy to share his opinion on just about anything. He definitely has an opinion on current politics,
Yep.
um, and very opinionated about that. But in the creative world, like he will um, put his opinion out there about something, and oftentimes, I think he tries really hard to not put people down that are creative because he understands the creative process. There was a story a long time um, about he would let anybody make his film to adapt his book into a film. They just had to pay him $1 because he wanted to help like student filmmakers and young filmmakers come up.
That's awesome.
And one of the best adaptations of his films ever made, besides something like Stand by Me or Shawshank, is The Mist, which he gives huge credit to Frank Darabont for coming up with the ending that he never could, because the ending of The Mist is one of the most messed up, heartbreaking, just tragic endings you could ever have in a film. Like just incredibly well done and just messes you up. And Stephen King was like, dude, why didn't I think of that? Like he really and Frank Darabont then went on to create the Walking Dead TV
Walking
series,
Dead. Yeah.
um, which when Frank Darabont was on it was great. As soon as he left, it became the same thing over and over and over again. But to the credit of that show, they're still making spin-offs, and The Walking Dead is
Also
still
did
on
the Green
TV.
Mile
Frank Darabont did The Green Mile. Yeah.
and
Nice.
like
Um,
directed it. Yep.
yeah, which is a great story. That is more Shawshank than horror, but it's good. Uh, since we're
Did
just
you write
tangenting
that,
off,
Stephen
and
King?
Stephen King wrote The Green Mile, and when The Green Mile released, he released it in serials. So it was 6 books that came out a month apart. So
Mm,
if you go buy The Green Mile right now, you'll likely buy it as one big novel. But
right.
when it had been originally released, and I used to have them,
like different
They
volumes.
came out at about 80 to 100 pages, and then you
Mm.
had to wait a month. And the reason he did that is because when he grew up, if you wanted to read stories, you were reading them in the newspaper or in a magazine, and they would only come out every month. So some of his favorite stories were serials, and he wanted to take a shot at that.
Cool.
Um, yeah, so it was really fun to read it that
Like,
way. Um, but Green Mile is a good one too. Tom Hanks,
yep.
Michael Clark Duncan,
R.I.P.
good one. So cool. Well, I don't have anything else. And I somehow we stretched this way longer than I thought we were going to. But it's a good one. I think there's a lot of good stuff to come out of this. I think I really do want somebody to watch Pluribus and tell me why it's great. Like, just tell me I'm wrong. Just, or
Lauren, give it a
tell me
shot.
and
Let us
Andrew
know
that
what
we're
you
wrong.
think.
Um, Genuinely, like, I maybe you'll love it. I don't know. Like, I
On
really,
Apple TV,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The first two
maybe.
episodes are out.
I
Um,
prefer you watch Stranger Things, though. I think you're missing
that
out.
that is true. That is true. I
I
would
feel
much
like I'm
rather.
definitely like that's a thing where everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah.
Yeah,
It's about to be everywhere.
yeah. I feel like even let's just say Pluribus runs its full run and it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes the entire time or whatever. This it's not going to be the stuff of legends that Stranger Things is.
Why do you think it's so appealing though? Like, what do people like about Pluribus?
Not a clue.
No
Not a
clue,
clue.
dude.
That's my problem. I do not have a clue why people like this, other
There's
than
stuff
it
like
has
you'll
Vince
see, and you're
Gilligan's
like,
name.
I don't like it, but I see people liking
Yeah.
it.
Mm-mm. I do not have that. I
Not.
don't understand. Do not
Yeah.
understand one bit. Other than, Rhea Seahorn does a good job as the character she's given, but I don't even think the character's good.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't get it. Like I said, I don't quite hate it as much as Andrew, but I sure don't like it.
You know what? You have to have no imagination to like the show. I'm sorry. I don't see it as so groundbreaking. And that's what everyone's saying. You've never seen anything like this. It's groundbreaking. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah,
all you
I'm
want,
waiting for that ground to break.
Right?
It's just
Yeah.
it's just kind of there. There's some moments in it that are cool. Like, there's a few moments that are cool, but they do not make a show good. Like, it's just yeah, I don't get it. But
It's the characters. That's
for
what
sure,
matters.
for sure, and it just isn't there, and that's what blows me away. But we have beaten that dead horse into a pulp. So with that, I will say thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great week, and we will see you next time.